I definitely hear a conure. And I see tiny toys.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi! We thought we heard a conure.
This is Sebastian.
What a cutie! Welcome to another Masterclass video with this time a Nanday Conure named Sebastian. Now we have no idea how old Sebastian is, but we do know for sure, in fact, he is a DNA sexed male Nanday Conure. So some of the issues that Jesse is having with Sebastian are things like he doesn't really like hands, he doesn't want to step up willingly, doesn't necessarily bite hard. And she does feel like she can read his body language, but he'll fly off her hand and back to his spot at home. So he kind of lives on a stand in the living room, and he's not too keen on the interactions that she wants to have with him. So he does say some words, whistles, targets, just kind of some of the basics. And then as far as his food, we were so proud of Jesse because he is on our seasonal feeding system and our pellets, which always excites us because it means we can get to the fun part, which is the training. So Jesse's main objective for today's class is just to get Sebastian to step up on her hand willingly. Now she's seen our family-friendly parrot formula 1 and 2. She's watched our baby bird course because she's a patron, and she's even watched our parrot effects video, which is more edutainment. But today's goal is definitely getting that awesome, enthusiastic step up willingly onto her hand without ever feeling forced. So let's see if we can get it for her.
So to start things off, we asked her to take him out of the cage. And so she went over and she was totally prepared with the chopstick and the clicker and the treats, and she tried to target her bird out of the cage. Now, it didn't take too many repetitions to realize that we weren't really set up for the best success. And that's one of the things that we preach a lot here at BirdTricks, and that is to make sure that you're set up for success. No matter how you start the interaction, think about it ahead of time. What could go right? What could go wrong? And in her case, she already said the bird doesn't step up well. This cage is not ideal for getting a bird to step up. So after multiple attempts of trying to get her bird to target, I finally said, you know what? Why don't we just take the top off the cage and make it easy? So at this point, the top is off. So to gain his trust, she continued to do lots of targeting and targeting him closer and closer to the edge as he tries to figure out how to overcome that fear to come touch the chopstick and get a treat. Then she's trying to target him over to the T-stand. So this is something we did to try to make that transition really easy from the cage to a familiar stand, but that didn't really work. So we just said, okay, let's go ahead and step him up for a treat.
So obviously, since Jesse's here to work on the step up and she offered it, it didn't work because we're not quite there yet. So it made Sebastian fly all around, which happens a lot throughout this video because he is fearful of her hand. And the interesting thing is what she stated when she came back with him is that he's actually okay like going on his back and being held in her palm, and he really like ran up her chest and things like that. But she kind of pointed out anytime that he was just perched on her hand, it was a problem.
But then she could hold him and it was okay.
But then you walked in with him perched on your hand. It didn't look very traumatic.
So one thing to be aware of at this stage in the bird's life, it almost appears that the bird is submitting and almost giving up to fighting when it is on its back. Because you notice whenever the bird is upright, it has the ability to escape, it runs for it. And so we're trying to work through that. But the reason I mention that is not to try to make her look bad, but to try to let everybody know that sometimes at a certain point in a bird's life, usually when it's younger, it's tolerant or willing to accept it, but it doesn't mean it likes it. So try to be very sure that you're not confusing that like, oh yeah, he likes this or he lets me do this. He might let you do it, but not forever. Oftentimes in the past, you might have heard us talk about the importance of training your bird in a room away from its cage. And I would say that there's some concepts going on that relate to that here, where I was able to just go over and pick the bird up on my finger and walk him back. A lot of this had to do because he wasn't near his cage, and out of all the fearful things, a human was the most familiar thing in that environment, so he was willing to come to me. Now, I was very slow with him, very cautious with him. This bird doesn't know me, but I was able to kind of quote unquote rescue him, walk on over and stand still while they got the T-stand set up away from the cage. So we weren't worrying about him trying to jump back to the cage, since That was one of the problems that she specifically said he has at home, is he'll fly back to the cage, his home, maybe someday his nest. So we want to avoid that altogether.
One of the new things we're now dealing with Sebastian, now that we can actually get him perched on Jessie's finger, is that he's wanting to retreat and go hide up in her hair on her shoulder. So one of the things that I saw was a lot of nesty type behavior. So I did warn her about that. She might want to put her hair up. She might want to just avoid getting in that situation altogether. And so Dave starts working with her on trying to keep Sebastian more towards the end of her hand versus trying to retreat up to her shoulder. So we try to make sure that she understands all that reinforcement from those food rewards needs to come from the hand, and really luring him either back there with seeing the treat is going to be delivered there, or by targeting him down. I try to make sure everybody always understands that as much as you work on the bird stepping up, coming to you, all of that stuff that we so much love and adore as humans, that you equally work on hands-off things. And so for Sebastian, we're putting him back on the T-stand and just working on some basic targeting, something that he's very confident and comfortable doing so that he doesn't feel like every single interaction is going to revolve around having him or making him come and be around us all the time. Because Sebastian is so receptive to training today at this class, we decide to work on the spin. It's something that Jessie hasn't been able to do with him, and it's something that we absolutely love training and can usually train in a single training session. So we go ahead and start teaching her how to train her bird to spin. Quite a bit of progress with the Nanday Conure Sebastian and his human Jessie in this video.
It's really important to note that the people that have the highest success rate in our master classes come fully prepared by having their bird on the right diet. That, I can't say enough how important that is, because we can deal with the treat value instead of trying to work under the misconception of a bird being so starved. We're able to make a ton of progress through proper diet and using the proper treats.
But wait, there's more. We got an email update from Jessie and her Nanday Conure, and I wanted to go ahead and read the email to you guys and then show you the video that she sent as a follow-up about how great they're doing and the progress they made in just a couple days afterwards. So Jessie wrote and said, "Hi Dave and Jamieleigh, this is Jessie from Saturday morning's mini masterclass in Medford, Oregon with Sebastian the Nanday Conure. I wanted to send you a message and thank you for all the guidance and help you gave me during our mini session, and I wanted to also update you and show you Sebastian's progress with stepping up, perching, and doing the spin like a champ. He even flew himself to the training T-stand to do tricks, and it's amazing how just a couple hours with you guys makes such a difference. I really appreciate all your guidance and advice towards building a better bond with Sebastian and starting our trick training journey. Thanks, Jessie and Sebastian." So check out the progress they have made since our 2-hour class with them over the weekend.
Come here, step up. Good. Yeah. You gonna do spins for me? Spin. Good job. You're doing it. You're so smart. Spin. Yes. He's doing it. Spin. Good boy. Spin. Good job. Yeah. Spin. Yeah. There you go. Oh, it's right there. Ready? Spin. Spin. You're so smart. What are you doing?
Lastly, we wanted to give a big shout out to Heather over at Crawling Critters Zoo for hosting our masterclasses here in Medford, Oregon. Thank you so much, Heather. We appreciate it more than you could know.
Thank you, thank you.
If you haven't already, check her out on Instagram and Facebook and think about hiring her for your next event. She works with an array of different variety of animals and critters, and she does right by animals in our eyes, and I think you guys will be very impressed.